All right, sorry, we were chatting about Christmas. All right, welcome back, everybody. It is Thursday. It is time for Talking Kids with Dr. Caitlynn. Lexington pediatrician Dr. Caitlynn Iddings is with us this morning, as always. Doc, good to see you. Yeah, you too. Okay, so today's topic, we were talking about fevers in children, when to be concerned, when to maybe call your doctor, things like that. So how do you want to begin today?
Yeah, absolutely. So fever is the most common reason that we get office visits always.
Okay.
Usually 1 out of every 3 visits is for a fever. It's also the most common reason that we get our nurses or our doctors called at night, because usually fevers, if they're going to happen, they will happen at night.
Why is that?
So some of it is just related to different hormone levels, and cortisol rises at night, and so it just makes it more likely that if you're going to have that inflammatory response, it's going to be when you're sleeping or in those early hours of the morning. So, but yeah, so it is a very common thing in kids because kids' immune systems are not very smart. They have a lot of learning to do, right?
Okay.
So, but it does freak parents out, right? And so I always tell parents, fever is a natural part of your immune system, right? So you have something that's causing a sickness, whether it's strep throat or flu or COVID or whatever, and that basically triggers this chemical response to release something called pyrenogens, which are going to cause your body temperature to elevate in order to kind of keep your immune system, functioning and keep your body temperature elevated, so it'll kind of kill the virus off or kill the bacteria off while your immune system's trying to mount a good response and finalize it, right? So. So parents are always freaked out with fever because fevers make you feel bad, right?
Yes.
So that's always the thing. The kid looks awful, their temp's 102, 103, and the biggest question I always get is, at what point do I need to go to the ER? What temperature?
Exactly.
And I always say 108, and people kind of look at me like, 108?
Yeah.
I'm like, you will never see 108. So basically the answer is there's no exact temperature that you should just immediately take your kid to the emergency room. What you need to do is treat the kid, not the number, right? So if your kid has a fever of 100.9 and they're not responsive and they're dehydrated and you can't get them to wake up, please take them to the emergency room.
Okay, it's not always that magic number, it's in combination.
If their kid has a fever of 105 and they're running around and you're chasing them with a syringe of Tylenol, like, you probably don't need to have them in the emergency room, right?
Okay.
So like I said, the fever is a natural immune response. It's actually a good thing. It's helping them fight the infection while the rest of their immune system kicks in. Okay. And we know that toddlers get really high fevers because their immune system is still doing a lot of learning, and even, early school age kids. So always look at the kid, look at how they're doing. Are they hydrating? Are they, are you able to give Motrin or Tylenol, ibuprofen, and the fever come down some and then start to feel better? Because once you get above 102, you're going to feel pretty bad. I don't care who you are, right? Yeah. But if it's hovering around 101, I tell people, you don't even have to give them anything, right? Okay. If they're sitting there and they're playing and they're feeling fine and they have a little bit of a fever, you don't have to give them a dose of Motrin or ibuprofen to bring it down, because it's just helping them fight the infection. But if it gets up above 102, 103, and they're looking puny and you can tell they feel bad, treat them. And parents are always like, oh, I brought them in, I didn't want to give them anything because I wanted you to see them with a fever. And I'm like, but why? Yeah, they feel awful. Like, I believe you, they had a fever, right? And it actually helps me to know, like, how much of a workup do I need to do? Because if you've already given them Motrin like an hour ago and they still look awful, and, I might do more testing and stuff like that. Than if, you come in and I'm like, well, you haven't done anything for them yet, right?
Yes,
And that's the same thing in the ER. The first thing that they're going to do is give them Motrin, Tylenol, and a popsicle. And if that brings it down, you're going to get a really expensive bill for Motrin, Tylenol, and a popsicle. Yeah. So always, try to treat it first, see if it comes down. If they're all bundled up, take off the heavy covers, put them in just like a light t-shirt, put a little cold rag on their head. All the things that Granny used to do for you when you were little. Oh, yes. And then see how they feel in about an hour. And then if they're still looking bad, you might need to call the doctor and ask, do we need to go to the ER?
Exactly. Okay. But some good information there to know how to handle it for sure. Doc, good to see you as always.
Absolutely.
Okay, stay with us. Final look at your forecast is coming up. Plus, as always, something to look forward to get your day started. Stay with us, GMK. Back in just a minute.